You are now listening to the hashtag MBDA Conversations podcast. In this podcast, you will be informed and empowered about MBDA's social, spatial, and economic transformation programs in Nelson Mandela Bay. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to hashtag MBDA Conversation podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I am your season host, Oluwam Mwazi. Follow us on our social media pages, and to be part of the conversation, send us a voice note on WhatsApp on 072-423-0271. Today we have MBDA's facilities and area manager, the acting area manager, Bulelani Mara. Yeah, I heard you are Ulipel.
Kahle.
Now, sir, welcome, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Oluwaz. It's nice to be here.
Why is facilities and area management key for MBDA's mandate?
I would say it's very much important because when you look at your development space, people normally look at only your capital projects, infrastructure projects. They look at psychosocial projects, but actually what needs to be done is that it needs to be an area-based approach, so that you look at your safety, cleansing, and all other aspects of the development. Because the first thing you look at when you go to a town, how clean is it? How safe is it? So that's what we're looking at in this component.
And what are these facilities that you're currently managing?
At the MBDA, we manage a number of facilities, mostly your tourist attraction sites and your heritage sites. We manage about 11 of them around the metro.
Yes.
Just to name a few, your Donkin Park, your Campanile, your Fort Fredericks, the Science Center in Kareha, or former Utinique, the Helenville Resource Center at the Helenville area, so even the Tramas building. So there's quite a number of sites that we manage, but they mostly have your heritage value and tourist attraction.
You are managing the infrastructure and you are protecting the vision of the city. That's an important task. How do you approach it?
You're right. It is quite an important task. So the MBDA is multidisciplinary institution. You've got project managers, all different disciplines. You've got engineers, quality surveyors, and they are the ones who actually drive the infrastructure side of things. Then you've got your psychosocial programs, looking at youth development, looking at women empowerment, and all those type of programs. You've got your art specialist who looks at art within the city and through the whole metro, basically. And we also have our own social facilitators. So it's like we've got it's a mixed pot. That I feel is what actually assists us in this mandate, because we go out there, speak to the communities, mobilize them, because if you just build, you'll end up building white elephants because you don't have the community behind that. But what has been working for us is that we go through what we call the MBDA way. From the moment we start with the community, get them behind the project, and I feel that has been helping in our projects, because even if we go out of that project, the community is still involved there because they had a buy-in in that project. And find that in most of our projects, it's actually the community who requests for that project. We don't just think that they need this, then we go build it. You see? So they normally say nothing without us. So from the word go, communicate with the community, see what their needs are, what their wants are, then build from that. It has been a winning way for us.
You are listening to hashtag MBDA Conversations. Be part of the conversation by sending your voice notes to our WhatsApp line 072-423-0271.
As an acting facilities and area manager, what does your day-to-day activities look like? What should happen every day when it comes to issues of facilities and protecting it and making it keeping it clean?
So this function is actually divided into three. You've got your cleansing, which is in charge of making sure the city is clean. You've got security to make sure that our facilities are protected and also the community is protected. Then the third part is the facilities itself, the maintenance and upkeeping of those sites, including the projects that we work in. So day to day, we make sure that service providers are on site and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. We make sure that through the securities that people who come in are safe, the staff is safe, and also the broader community around where we work is safe through the security contracts.
What are the challenges that you are facing in managing these different facilities?
The major one is funding. As we know that we get our funding from the city, through the couple of years now, it has actually declined, making it very difficult to have for example, securities in each and every site. And what we've noticed now is that where there is no security, things go haywire in terms of your thefts, your burglaries, and also in some instances you've got vagrants staying in these sites, which poses a big problem for us. Obviously, for us to have warm bodies in these sites, we need funding, and it's not always there. So now we find ourselves having to juggle a small portion of funding throughout all these sites. That is one of our big challenges. The other one, as I said, is like vagrants. Because where they stay, there's no ablutions. There's no proper shelter. They're also exposed to all kinds of dangers as well. So to protect them, we need to take them out of these open spaces to proper shelters. And with that, we work with a number of stakeholders, the municipality, your social development nationally, local NGOs, to try to assist them and to get them out of the street.
That's a good approach.
Yeah.
Did the COVID problem make you to think about your strategies differently? Are there any new approaches or systems or technologies that you are using as a result of that pandemic?
One thing, though, we have been looking at is to introduce or to broaden the artificial intelligence, where we'll have a mixture of warm bodies with artificial intelligence to assist in curbing the crime. But in terms of cleansing, COVID hasn't really done much harm to it. Not harm, but in terms of changing the way we do things.
It hasn't affected much.
Yeah, it hasn't affected it that much. But what I did notice was that, they would tend to blame COVID for simple thing of not picking up
Litter
or
littering.
Yeah, then when we would report that, to say, hey, there's, I see that today the truck didn't come pick up. They'll say, COVID, which is not really the case.
Is there something that the community can do when they see someone, misbehaving and or littering in the city, especially the culprits?
The first one I would say is for people to take ownership of their place. For example, if you see someone throwing rubbish in your yard, you won't let that person go. Sure, you'll go after him, So that will be my first call. Look after your own place. And if you see someone doing something wrong, go after that person. Tell him what you're doing is wrong. We need to take pride about our facilities and our communities. We need to take pride of them. Then secondly, I will say, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, that the municipality has got town rangers who actually issue out fines to the culprits. So I would suggest that if you see someone doing this, more especially businesses, you can always report them. Take pictures, note the date down, so that we can go after that person who has done that.
Be part of the conversation. For more information, visit www.mbda.co.za.
And I also learned that as part of your strategies of maintaining this local infrastructure, you then use local people as well as a protective layer.
Correct. Correct.
How has that worked for you?
It has worked very well. It has worked very well because now, if you use local people, they are invested there. They're invested there, and you'll find that the results are much better than bringing someone outside who's just there to do the job, you know. But whereas if you use local guys, you'll find that they are much invested there, and you'll hardly get any problems. For example, in one of the areas that is known as being very rough in Helenville, it's gang infested, but we do a number of jobs there. And there's this one project where it was in the heart of all those things, you know. And to be quite honest, there hasn't been any incident in that site. None whatsoever. And people expect it to be one of the sites which we encounter problems in, but not that site, because we always work with the local people and they always rallied behind that project. They know its value. We haven't had one incident.
And we know how local people can actually disintegrate infrastructure and not say a word to the municipality. We've seen a number of those challenges.
It's
in
quite
the city.
sad, actually. Yeah.
No.
But maybe just on the cleansing issue, you know, I've noticed that since we've introduced the recycling program with the local, with the private sector, there has been some improvement. And also, you know, there's a program that is called Kapaching, wherein they bring all the recycling material, then they get paid for it. And that program was launched in Central and in Brighton. And the plan is actually to roll it out across the metro. Because in as much as they are doing recycling, they're also earning something in return, you know. And I know also there are other private sector are involved where you can get a voucher instead of cash. Then you can go buy a grocer or something using that voucher. So it has been helpful.
As normal right now, we'll be listening to your views that are sent to us via voice notes.
Hi everyone. So I would like to voice out my concerns about the crime in the CBD area. I wanted to know what's the agency's plan for better security in the area. I simply can't walk freely without worrying about being robbed. The CBD is crime infested, so I would really like to know what's the agency's plan for better security in the area. Thank you very much.
So on that one, we basically working with the local stakeholders, your community, the city, the police. We've also started partnerships as well with your SRA. So those are the guys that we work with to curb this.
What SRA is?
Sorry, the SRA is your special rich area.
Oh, yes.
We've got one in Richmond Hill. We've recently started working with the one in Central. So we've got two that we work with, and those are the guys that we work on. Those are part of our stakeholders that we work with to ensure that we curb this kind of, because really crime is a big problem, not only in our inner city, but right through the metro and even, I would say, right through the country. And one of the biggest ones that we are experiencing is vandalism and or cable theft. Our streets are dark and it brings even more crime because you can't see people. It's not safe. So what we do now is to work with those stakeholders, and there has been, I must say, some improvement, more especially in this central area. Through the SRA, we managed to install cameras, which assist us greatly. We know exactly where the hotspots are, and those cameras are those with the artificial intelligence. So they can spot a person, and not only that, even with your cars, can see any hijacker immediately because it's linked to the subs. Even recently, there was an incident where about 4 or 5 people were shot dead. It was drug-related, but through those cameras and those partnerships, we were able to kill those people. In fact, subs were able to kill those people.
That's really great. You also have had waste management campaigns. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah. So the problem with waste, as I said, that one of the lack of facilities and area management is your cleansing. And we find that we clean every day, but it gets more dirty because people say that if I put this plastic rubbish bag here, tomorrow MBDA is going to come pick it up again. So it's not really assisting the problem. So one of the things we need to do now is to teach the people about waste and what to do with waste. So that campaign was for that. It's an awareness program. It's an awareness program because they need to know that, okay, for example, on Mondays, the municipality comes to pick up their domestic waste. Thursdays, the municipality does their business waste. So that between those days, people don't just throw the waste around, And remember, the services we are actually doing there is a top-up services because it's the municipality's role to do cleaning. So we do the top-up services, but because people see us every day, they're on site cleaning, they do. You'll find out today, past 5, it's clean. Come back tomorrow morning. It's like it wasn't clean the previous day. So we need to keep people informed and make them aware of these things and teach them. So that's what that whole campaign was about. And also we're bringing in some of our partners are in the private sector, the guys who do recycling. So also that campaign was also based on that, teaching them about recycling.
It's actually interesting that you point that out, that we do cleaning does take place. It's only that the following morning you still have dirt on the road. So are you looking into maybe, I know the campaigns, maybe expanding the infrastructure that's going to help you to manage the inner city or the precinct waste management? Is there any long-term planning, seeing that this is now a daily activity and a problem?
Also, it's also an issue of compliance and monitoring because remember, each business owner is supposed to have a contract for their waste because their waste is different from your domestic waste. And you find that half of them don't have that contract. And you actually find some business guys maybe from Castle Street driving to Parliament Street just to throw that waste so that it's not linked to them, So the municipality has those contracts. And in fact, we are planning to have some blitz now, going business to business to see their contracts because you find that mostly it's the business people who are the illegal dumpers. So I would say what needs to be done is to be more firm when it comes to compliance and also monitoring of that. We have started because the municipality's got a town ranger. We also got town rangers who go around looking for these culprits. Then, unfortunately, we can't issue out fines, but what our rangers do is once they see a culprit, they write the details, we send to the city. The city goes to site and then issues out those fines. Another problem we're starting to see now is that most businesses in Central are being converted to your student accommodation. Yes. And you'll find that they don't have those bins, and those bins are supposed to be inside the property. So what the students do now is that they just throw that outside. Yes. So that's where the awareness campaigns come in, and also those monitoring and making sure that they comply.
Just because this is what we see when we walk into the city, and now we're going to have the face of Bulelani if we have to complain about these things. But just to conclude, your reflections on the importance of managing this aspect of the city, security and cleanliness, and also as a project manager, just your reflections.
I would say, people don't realize how crucial this is. As I said earlier to you that, for example, I've got the boat cruise, which has got international visitors. Now imagine when they step out of that and step into the city, the first impression, if it's dead all around, chances are very slim that they'll come back again. Mm. And the worst thing is that they're going to be telling those experiences to other people. So people look at how clean the city is and how safe it is. So it's very crucial that we maintain those and we keep them at a high standard so that it brings in more people, which will also have positive spin-offs for the economy of the city.
Now, thank you very much for joining us, Bulelani. It was good to meet you, and all the best for the work ahead. May you have a productive year this year.
For more intriguing MBDA conversations, follow the MBDA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please subscribe and share this podcast. Also visit the MBDA website and send us your questions or views via the MBDA WhatsApp line on 072 423 0271. Thank you for joining us. Till next time.